Have you ever heard of Sustanon? Yeah, that name gets tossed around a lot in gyms and doctors' offices. But do you actually know what's behind it? Today kicks off a brand new phase here on the channel. A special series where we're going to talk openly about hormones, steroids, supplements, performance, and health. No taboos, no BS, just real talk with responsibility. But for this to really work, I need your feedback. Do you like this kind of content? Does the format work for you? Drop a comment below. It's going to help shape the direction of this whole series. And if you've always wanted to understand what actually happens to your body when these compounds come into play, then stick with me. So, if you've heard of Sustanon but never really got what it is, this video is going to break it all down in a super simple way. Sustanon is a hormonal medication based on testosterone, the main male hormone. It's mainly used in hormone replacement therapy, but it's also super popular in the fitness world. A lot of people use it in performance cycles to gain strength and muscle mass faster. But what's really inside this stuff? Unlike other substances that only use one type of testosterone, Sustanon is known for being a blend. That means it mixes different testosterone esters, basically different salts, that absorb into the body at different speeds. This combo makes the effects kick in quickly and last longer. That's one of the big reasons athletes and doctors often go for it. Sustanon is made up of 5 different esters. The main ones are testosterone propionate, phenylpropionate, isocaproate, and decanoate. Each one works a bit differently. Some hit faster, others take their time. The idea is to give you almost instant results while keeping the effects going for days. Pretty clever, right? One of the cool things about this blend is that your body gets to use the testosterone in stages. Just a couple of hours after the injection, around 2 hours, you might start feeling it kick in. But at the same time, part of it keeps working in your system for up to 15 days. That's why some people only inject it once every 2 weeks. Of course, it all depends on your goal and what your doctor recommends. Sustanon can be used for different reasons, but it always boosts your testosterone levels. If someone has low testosterone, it can help with energy, mood, even sex drive. For people using it to enhance performance, they're after different results: strength, faster recovery, and muscle growth. But here's the big question. Is it really worth using just for aesthetics? A lot of folks wrestle with that one. Even though it's a legit prescription medication, using it without proper supervision can be risky. We're talking about a powerful hormone that affects a lot of things in your body. Just because it's testosterone, something your body already makes, doesn't mean you can go overboard. Too much of it can lead to side effects. That's why having a professional guide you is so important. Now that you got a better idea of what Sustanon really is, you can see it's more complex than it seems, right? It's not just injectable testosterone. It's a carefully designed blend made to work in different phases. Whether you're using it for medical reasons or chasing aesthetic goals, the key is knowing exactly what you're putting into your body. Before we dive deeper into today's topic, I want to touch on something super important. When people hear anabolic steroids, they often assume it's all the same thing, but that's far from the truth. Steroids are actually split into different groups, each with their own effects, uses, and risks. In this video, we're going to break them down into 3 main categories. Understanding this makes it way easier to know what each one does to your body. The first group is the most well-known, testosterone-based steroids. This includes compounds like Sustanon and depotestosterone. They're basically different versions of the male hormone and work directly on testosterone receptors. These are super effective for muscle growth and are also commonly used in medical testosterone replacement therapy. The second group is made up of DHT derivatives, that's dihydrotestosterone. Compounds like oxandrolone, anavar, and stanozolol, winstrol, fall into this category. They're structurally different from regular testosterone and are known for producing leaner gains with less water retention. On the flip side, they can bring side effects like hair loss and skin issues. The third group includes the 19-er compounds. These are the heavy hitters like decadurabolin and trenbolone. They're known for having very strong anabolic effects, but they also tend to suppress your natural testosterone hard. Because of that, they require more caution and usually come with more complex cycles and post-cycle therapy. Each group has its own traits, and it's super important to know what you're dealing with before jumping into anything. Like, Sustanon has a broad and steady action, while oxandrolone is a go-to for those trying to avoid bloating. Trenbolone, on the other hand, is one of the most powerful and effective, but also one of the riskiest. Even with all these differences, all anabolic steroids have one thing in common. They're synthetic versions of hormones your body already makes. And that similarity is what allows them to connect with your hormone receptors. But using them recklessly can throw your whole system out of whack. That's why knowing about these categories isn't just interesting. It's a matter of being responsible with your health. Now that you've got the basics on Sustanon and these 3 major steroid groups, it's time to talk about who actually uses this stuff and why. The truth is, there are 2 very different types of users: those taking it for medical reasons and those using it for aesthetics or performance. Let's take a closer look at both sides and understand the motivation behind each. First up is the medical side, known as TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. This is for guys with hypogonadism, which is when your body doesn't make enough testosterone, or barely any at all. The symptoms can hit hard: extreme fatigue, low sex drive, depression, and even muscle loss. In these cases, Sustanon is used under medical supervision as a legit treatment. The goal of TRT is simple: to keep testosterone levels in a healthy range, usually up to around 900 ING/DL. With that, patients can get their energy back, feel more motivated, and improve overall quality of life. But here's the catch: it has to be done with blood work, proper dosing, and doctor supervision. Skip any of those steps, and the risks go way up. On the flip side, we've got the more common gym use, the aesthetic Sustanon cycle. In this case, the goal isn't just to bring testosterone levels back to normal. It's to crank them way beyond what the body naturally produces, all in the name of muscle and strength. The gains here are fast and aggressive. But in doing that, the user is stepping way outside the body's natural limits. And get this, even a single injection per week already counts as a full-on cycle. Each ampoule of Sustanon contains about 176 milligrams of pure testosterone. That's more than double what an average guy produces naturally in a week, which is around 70 milligrams. So yeah, if you're injecting once a week, you're already in anabolic territory. That's why it's totally misleading to call it TRT when it's actually a cycle. The problem is, this confusion is everywhere, especially on social media. A lot of people claim they're on TRT, but in reality, they're doing cycles for aesthetics. That can be dangerous because people tend to downplay the side effects. And worse, the body can stop producing its own testosterone, which creates dependency. Ever seen someone crash hard for messing with hormones the wrong way? Using Sustanon in doses above natural levels might sound tempting, especially with the quick gains. But the human body is built to maintain hormonal balance. When that balance gets thrown off, your body kicks in defense mode. It's like your system goes, "Whoa, that's way too much testosterone. Time to fix this." And that's when side effects start showing up. One of the first responses is an enzyme called 5-alpha reductase. It converts some of that excess testosterone into DHT, which is an even more potent hormone. In small doses, DHT is useful, but too much, and it becomes a problem. It can trigger irritability, acne, hair loss, and even mess with your sex drive. And the worst part? These effects hit fast and vary a lot from person to person. Then there's aromatase, another enzyme that jumps into action when testosterone levels spike. It turns some of that testosterone into estradiol, which is the main female hormone. Your body's just trying to find balance, but the results can backfire. Think swollen breast tissue, aka gynecomastia, and a drop in libido. Basically, your body's trying to protect itself, but ends up creating a whole new mess. What many people don't get is that these side effects aren't always predictable. You could have your training and diet dialed in and still run into trouble. It's not just about how much you take, it's about how your body responds. Some folks feel the effects right from the first few injections, while others take longer. Another key point: high estradiol levels don't just affect your body, they mess with your emotions too. Mood swings, lack of motivation, even anxiety attacks can show up. And let's not forget the loss of sexual desire. which is kind of ironic in a cycle that's supposed to boost everything. A lot of users end up needing meds just to manage the side effects of the meds they're already taking. Even experienced athletes constantly worry about side effects. That's why they get regular blood work and use things like inhibitors or modulators to try to keep those enzymes in check. But even then, there's no guarantee of safety. Everything depends on your genetics, dosage, frequency, and even your age. At the end of the day, the human body wants balance, and messing with that comes at a cost. There's no magic cycle with zero consequences, especially when you go beyond your natural limits. Most people think testosterone is all about muscle, strength, and energy. But what doesn't get talked about enough is the silent damage it can do to your heart. So let's get into the cardiovascular risks and why they deserve your attention. Because yes, the heart also feels the impact of steroids, and not always in a good way. When TRT is done right, meaning within your natural physiological range, the heart risks are pretty much zero. The goal is just to bring your levels back to what your body should be producing, keeping everything in balance. In those cases, testosterone can even help your overall health and indirectly benefit the heart. But the real trouble starts when hormone levels go way above normal, like in steroid cycles. Excess testosterone stimulates tissue growth, and that includes heart muscle. Over time, that can cause thickening of the heart walls, especially the left ventricle. Sounds like a gain? It's not. That excessive growth of heart muscle actually makes the heart stiffer and less efficient. It struggles more to pump blood and can have a hard time handling physical stress. That ups the risk of arrhythmias, heart attacks, and in more severe cases, even sudden death. Another issue is how steroids mess with your cholesterol. They tend to raise LDL, the bad cholesterol, and lower HDL, the good one. That shift promotes plaque buildup in your arteries and messes with circulation. Now combine that with heart wall thickening, and you've got a dangerous cocktail. A lot of people think they're healthy just because they're ripped or have visible muscles. But real health goes way beyond the mirror. It depends on blood work and how your organs are functioning on the inside. The heart is literally the engine of the body, and playing games with it can be a deadly mistake. Plenty of people start a cycle thinking it's just inject, grow, done. But what almost no one talks about is what happens afterward. When you stop taking Sustanon or any anabolic steroid, your body goes into shock. It had gotten used to an external testosterone supply and stopped making its own. Natural testosterone production doesn't just bounce back overnight. Your body has to realize that the external source is gone and restart its system. That can take weeks or even months, depending on how high your doses were, how long the cycle lasted, and your genetics. During that time, you might feel exhausted, weak, low libido, even depressed. That's where PCT, post-cycle therapy, comes in. It's meant to kickstart your hormonal axis and get everything back on track as fast as possible. With the right meds like SERMs or HCG, it's possible to speed things up and ease the crash. But here's the catch. PCT isn't something you just Google and freestyle. Skipping PCT or doing it half-assed can seriously backfire. You could lose all the gains from your cycle and end up stuck in a long-term hormonal slump. That hits your physical performance, emotional stability, and even your sex life. And worst case, some users never fully recover their natural testosterone production. Your mental health takes a hit during this time too. A lot of people report feeling down, insecure, unmotivated, and unable to stay consistent at the gym. It's like both your body and mind are just shut down, waiting for a reboot that isn't coming fast enough. And without medical or emotional support, that stretch can feel brutal. The truth is, if you're starting a cycle, you need to think from day one about how you're going to come off it. Planning your PCT is just as important as planning the cycle itself. Without that, you're opening the door to a whole mess of physical and mental issues. You can't treat hormones like they're no big deal. Now that you know what really happens when you stop a steroid cycle, think hard before jumping into one. It's not just about what you'll gain, it's about how you're going to keep it after. PCT isn't optional, it's essential. If you made it this far, you already get that ending a cycle without doing anything is a major mistake. But what exactly happens during PCT, post-cycle therapy? That's the time when you help your body start producing testosterone and sperm naturally again. Without that reset, the side effects drag on and all your hard-earned gains disappear. The main goal of PCT is to wake up your hormonal system, especially the HPT axis, hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and testicles. During a cycle, that system shuts down because the body thinks it doesn't need to make testosterone anymore. Once the cycle ends, the whole system needs to be turned back on, ASAP. The faster that happens, the better for your physique, mental health, and fertility. One of the most commonly used meds during PCT is clomiphene citrate, also known as Clomid. It works by stimulating the pituitary gland to release hormones that signal the testicles to start producing testosterone again. It's one of the cornerstones of post-cycle recovery and is usually taken for a few weeks after the cycle ends. Another key player is HCG, specifically beta-HCG, which mimics LH, the hormone that directly triggers testosterone production. HCG is especially helpful after long or high-dose cycles because it prevents testicular shrinkage and speeds up hormonal recovery. But here's the thing. It needs to be used with medical supervision because doing it wrong can actually backfire. On top of the meds, some people also add natural supplements like long jack, ginkgo biloba, and epimedium. These herbs can support blood flow, boost libido, and gently help with hormonal balance. They're not a replacement for proper meds, but they can be good sidekicks in the recovery process. But don't forget, not every PCT is the same. The type of steroid used, how long the cycle lasted, your age, and even your medical history all impact the ideal protocol. That's why it's always best to get blood work done and follow professional guidance. Copying someone else's PCT plan can go seriously wrong. Ever seen two people run the same cycle but have totally different side effects? That's why doing a proper PCT is what separates responsible users from people just messing with their health. Chasing that dream physique means nothing if you ignore what's going on under the hood. High testosterone is great, but only when it's natural or carefully controlled. So now that you've learned all this, do you think most people are really ready to handle a legit post-cycle recovery? Sustanon is without a doubt one of the most widely used anabolic steroids in Brazil, both by people chasing performance and those undergoing hormone therapy. But as we've seen throughout this video, using it takes way more than just wanting to get big. It takes knowledge, responsibility, and above all, medical support. The difference between a well-managed TRT and a reckless cycle lies in the details, and those details can make or break your health. Overusing it can lead to serious side effects, hormonal, cardiovascular, or both. It's not just about aesthetics, it's about what happens after the cycle ends, when your body needs time and support to bounce back. Stopping a protocol without planning and skipping PCT can be a huge, costly mistake. That's why good information is your best ally if you want real, lasting, and safe results. Now I want to hear from you. What's your take on using Sustanon for non-medical reasons? Do the aesthetic benefits really outweigh the risks? Would you take this path to reach your ideal physique, or would you go another way? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to know what you think. And of course, share this video with that friend who's always talking about doing a cycle, but has no clue what PCT even is. Don't forget to hit the like button. It helps the channel a ton and keeps me motivated to bring you more no BS, informative content. And if you're not subscribed yet, now's the time. Hit that button below and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing.